All right, everybody. Today I am very honored to introduce Laura Eiman. Laura is a certified confidence coach who specializes in helping her clients develop mindset strategies to help them overcome challenges, achieve desired outcomes, and transform important areas of their lives, like helping clients discover their greatest purpose after retirement. Laura spent 2 years during COVID studying with retired Navy SEAL Commander Mark Devine and his team to get her Unbeatable Mind coaching certification. She has been passionately abstinent from all processed sugar and junk foods for over 24 years. She's won a gold medal in Olympic weightlifting and qualified for the World Championships twice at the age of 64. And she launched a small business at the age of 50 that nearly 3 years later gained the endorsement of Oprah, Rachel Ray, and Barbara Walters. Laura conducts one-on-one and corporate group coaching as well as keynote speaking engagements. She's an amazing person who's been a good friend and a mentor for years and actually helped me dial in my nutrition years back, which has led to such positive effects for my family. I'm really grateful to have her on with us today. Laura, I really appreciate you coming on for our listeners. Thank you. How are you?
I'm beautiful. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm just honored to be with you. You're one of my favorite people on the planet. So for you to invite me onto your show is a big honor.
Oh, well, likewise. Thank you so much. So I'm going to jump right into it. Can you please tell us a little bit about your coaching practice and how you support your clients?
So my coaching practice being a confidence coach for women, but this podcast is really applicable to men because it all has to do with mindset. Everything, Eddie, starts with having a positive mindset. So a quote that I developed was, when was the last time you won at anything by saying I can't? Most of our achievements have come from us first upstairs here saying, I really can. I really can go do that. So in my coaching program, I'm always supporting my ladies, my clients, whether I'm doing corporate or one-on-one, and saying, let's celebrate your wins and let's set your mindset up for saying, yes, I can, as opposed to, you don't understand, or, oh, I couldn't possibly, or you don't know what I've been through. That's all in the past. And we want to get rid of that because it does not serve us.
Yeah.
So really, when I say mindset, I'm really kind of changing people's attitudes about themselves and the beliefs about the world around them. And it's very hard to do on our own. We just can't. We're so enmeshed in our problems and so enmeshed in our can'ts, understandably so, that
Yeah.
it takes somebody, a coach like me, to come along. I use the metaphor of,
Yeah.
people who are marching, wind up little plastic dinosaurs marching, and they're stuck marching into a wall,
Right.
with the key in their back. And I come around, I pick them up and I turn them around and say, first of all, let's get you unstuck. Let's
Yeah.
get you to that negative I can't mindset and get you marching in a positive direction. So I celebrate their wins. We look at their mindset and we turn it around with a whole bunch of strategies that I have. I have a whole toolbox
Yeah.
of tools that I give to my clients individually selected for their needs.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's powerful. What led you down onto this path of coaching?
Well, my life was a mess for the first 45 years of my life. I mean, I was drowning in sugar, binging on sugar. It was my go-to feel-good food. I didn't care about booze or pot or hard drugs. Sugar was my drug of choice, which is very common for a lot of women and guys too, but a lot for women. And I was drowning in the sugar, drowning my sorrows in that. And I was newly divorced. I hated myself. I hated life. I was miserable. I had no purpose and no direction. I had a lot of stinking thinking up here.
Yeah.
The only thing I cared about was my two children, who were very young at the time. And one night I saw a documentary on the Navy SEALs
Yeah.
at my neighbor's house, and I didn't even know who the Navy SEALs were. But I was sitting there eating a box of Oreos, hanging out with my neighbors, and I kind of got sucked into this documentary. And who doesn't love a man in uniform anyway, right?
Yeah.
But Eddie, I said, I said to myself, holy cow, my life, these guys are so, they have such integrity. They show up every day. They care about themselves. They care about their teammates. They're so mentally tough. They're fit and they have a strategy they follow. And I'm such a mental weenie. Well, I got really sucked into this documentary, and I made a decision that night to turn my life around. I was done being miserable, and it all change starts with making a decision. So I had hit my thousandth bottom, And that night was the last time that I ever ate any processed sugar or junk food. Now, this was before, the internet was really hopping. I was 48 years old at the time, 2020. I'm 71 now. And I just went to the library and I started studying the mindset of Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be putting a rifle on my back and jumping out of helicopters,
Yeah.
but I wanted their mindset.
Right.
And that's what I set out to do. And then I started studying the habits of Olympic athletes. So
Yeah.
that's what led me down this path, is hitting bottom 1,000 times and saying, I need to reinvent myself. And I did so by following cool people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I know it's transformative. It's the mindset shift. That's amazing about all this. And mental toughness. How do you define that?
So that's a big, there are many definitions. So how I define it in my coaching program for what I live by and what I coach my ladies on, it is, it is getting up, making the decision that we want to become better every day by, number one, mastering our emotions,
Yeah.
because negative emotions and positive emotions can make lousy leaders of our lives. They are not the CEOs of our lives.
Yeah.
Rational thinking with a little bit of emotion sprinkled in is good. But mastering our emotions to win, number one,
Yeah.
living by core values. So we have to define what values, what things we care about, not living by society's norms,
Yeah.
and learning how to get up when we're knocked down, and we get knocked down every day,
Yeah.
how to get up, dust ourselves off, leave the resentment and anger behind, and keep moving forward towards our purpose, following our core values. So there's a couple of ideas for
Yeah.
your listeners on what mental toughness is.
Yeah. Yeah. You're so right. It's a little bit different for everybody, but there's that core of that resiliency, being able to stay in line with what you value. And and yeah, you hear it all the time when you hear about Navy SEALs and um, when you hear about really any type of coaching, it's so important. Uh, what role has fitness played in everything that you do?
Well, you and I are big fitness junkies. But I do want to highlight that for me, it's not the answer to all of our problems, but
Right.
it's a very important piece to the puzzle. It's one of my big five: sleep,
Yeah.
proper fitness, not dumb, stupid fitness. I see a lot of dumb, stupid fitness at my gym. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proper educated fitness where you get a lot of bang for your buck,
Yeah.
eating nutrient dense foods. So our eating, and then mastering our emotions, our mindset, and then meditation
Yeah.
is such a huge part of it. So those are the five.
Yep.
So by itself, fitness is not effective. I mean, I know a lot of jerks who run triathlons,
Yeah.
and they are no help to the planet.
Yeah. 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 No, I totally get you. Uh, yeah, I mean, fitness is so important, but you're right. It's a component of a whole holistic program. And and yeah, you medaled in Olympic lifting, right?
Oh.
Tell
Yes,
us about that.
that was a little rabbit hole I went down briefly in my life.
Yeah.
I was 60 years old. I started
Yeah.
CrossFitting.
Yeah.
Women my age had never, we didn't lift weights growing up. That was what guys did in the football team. But
Yeah.
I started CrossFit at age 60, which is where I met you.
Yep.
Had been introduced to strength training at that time. I'd never even seen a barbell before. And 3 years later, I kind of got turned right and went into Olympic weightlifting, because there was a Olympic weightlifting coach at our CrossFit gym in Florida.
Yeah.
And I thought that's kind of interesting. Left CrossFit behind, focused on that.
Yeah.
And then I got kind of into competing.
Yeah.
And I wanted the barbell to teach me more about mental toughness, because the barbell does not yield.
Yeah.
We yield to the barbell.
That's
And
right.
done right with the proper coaching, we can learn so much. But I got so darn strong
Yeah.
mentally and physically from it. So I just went down that rabbit hole and started to compete, and I started to win stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
couldn't have done it if I had a, oh, I can't possibly, you don't understand, I'm too old for this sport.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the only person in the whole sport who didn't have a tattoo, and I was older than everybody else by about 1,000 years.
Right.
When you start to compete in the upper levels, then there were women and men my age who were
Yeah.
competing in the over 40 category, and it was fun.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah, no, it's such a level of discipline with the bar and so much repetition to really get it's less about strength and it's more about up here, right? To be able to perform at that level for Olympic lifting. That's amazing. And yeah, I remember the first time I met you. I remember first meeting you at CrossFit and thinking, wow, what a hero. Like what a great role model. And yeah, and you've always been a role model in that regard. It's it's amazing what you can beat everybody else. It's tremendous. Um, you know,
Can I jump in here and say
sure,
something
sure.
for your listeners? It's really important to align yourself with people who have the same high standards that you do. And I hope for people listening, if you don't have core values and you don't have high standards for
Yeah.
yourself, start to develop them and then go live them and then go
Yes,
find people who have.
yes,
And when I found you, Eddie, I was looking at you saying, holy cow, what's he drinking? I
yeah,
want what he has because I saw drive, I saw commitment, I saw you showing up every day. So you and I kind of globbed onto each other. I'm 30 years older than you, but it doesn't matter. You want to hang out
yeah.
with people who can raise you to the next level, who can
Right.
encourage. And so I think that's a really important component for people who are
You're so
listening.
right. Yes, yes, you're so right. Community is so important, and it's that community of like-minded individuals with similar values that, you know, you don't even have to consciously have the purpose to do it, but what happens is you get this subconscious reinforcement. Everybody's kind of holding each other accountable to that high standard, and
Right.
everybody helps each other improve. And yeah, no, that community that we met in, um, you know. it's it always sticks with me. So I'm so happy that you're still part of my community because like I say, you're a great role model and you keep me accountable to everything that I'm committed to as well. So that's awesome. Um, so diet and nutrition, right? That's another piece of this.
Right.
You talk about that and how that's played a role for you.
Again, part of my big five, excellent nutrition. You are what you eat, but nutrition is so important. But if you have excellent nutrition, but a garbage mindset, and you're not doing exercise and you're not trying to take a break and do at least a little bit of quiet time or meditation, you're going to be leading a mediocre life. But having said that, nutrition is so huge because we're living in a country now where there's sugar in everything,
Yeah,
highly processed foods, and the CDC says that by 2030, 90% of our country is going to be overweight or obese.
yeah,
So what we're eating plays a huge role because it goes into our gut, and our gut is our second brain. And Eddie, I'm beginning to think our gut is our first brain.
yeah,
But whatever goes into our gut talks to our brain, and it gives us energy, it gives us clarity of thought, it helps us
yeah,
think positively, it helps us eat better. So
yeah,
food is so important. And it is possible, even on a budget,
yeah,
it is possible to eat nutrient dense food and stay away from, all the factory food that is coming out.
yeah.
It is possible.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, no, I mean, you helped me dial in my nutrition, which has been super helpful. It's that ripple effect with my family, and then
Yeah.
with my father's diagnosis, we went to learn a lot more about how important diet and nutrition is, and and yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We are in a chronic disease epidemic, and um, metabolic syndrome and metabolic dysfunction that starts with insulin resistance is at the heart of all of those chronic diseases, including Alzheimer's disease. So, diet and nutrition is so important for reversing disease, preventing disease, and at the heart of that, you know, processed food, there's the sugar, right? So, this is something that, again, it's something that I've marveled at because it just takes such a tremendous amount of discipline, and you got to tell us about it. How have you managed? To be processed, sugar-free, junk food-free for over 2 decades.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll be 25 years in May 20th, 2000. Oftentimes, it starts by hitting a bottom
Yeah.
millions of times, whatever it is that you want to change in your life. Um, it starts by hitting bottom and sitting down, having a conversation with yourself and saying, I'm done hurting myself.
Mm,
I want to break the cycle of pain. I'm not hurting anybody else out there. I mean, I was indirectly hurting my kids because I wasn't being a good mom. You
Yeah.
can't be when you're ingesting crap all the time.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be finished hurting myself. I was emotionally eating. I'd have a bad day, I'd overeat. I'd have a good day, I'd overeat. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So for your listeners, if you are really sick and tired and you're really done, sit down and say to yourself, I really can do this, but I cannot do it on my own.
Yeah.
Sugar is way too powerful. It's like getting off of alcohol. It's like getting off drugs. I made the decision. So number one, you got to make the decision, and then you got to surround yourself with a support team.
Yeah.
So I went to Overeaters Anonymous for 5 years, got an incredible education in that 12-step program
Yeah.
about food and how people react to food. And you'll learn a lot about yourself and your relationship with food. Then I went to a therapist and I said, I'm angry, so I'm eating. I need to get my anger under control. And then I started to ramp up my exercise program.
Yeah.
And with that, I started to sleep better. You see the whole
Yeah.
360-degree process.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't do this stuff on your own. Occasionally, you got a lone ranger who says, yes, I did X, Y, and Z on my own. Good for them.
Yeah.
But so I had made the decision, I didn't want to hurt myself anymore.
Yeah.
And then I developed big whys. My only why at the time was is I want better for my kids. I didn't care about myself. I didn't care about my life. I cared about them.
Yeah.
So I kept that big why. And when you want to do something like get off the sugar, and we're bombarded by it in our society, get a couple of really juicy whys
Yeah.
that taste better than sugar
Yeah.
and stay focused on them, because without your juicy whys, the sugar or the booze or the alcohol, whatever it is going to win every time.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. Yeah. Powerful, wise. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean, a lot of people say, oh, but it's not that bad. Sugar's not that bad, but it compounds over time, right? And some people also say, but it's so hard to get over. And you've got those imaging studies where it's like, you know, sugar's lighting up the same centers of the brain as some hard drugs. So yeah, there is some real physiological difficulty, but like you're saying, when you have a strong why, you can break that pattern. Um, that's powerful. You could have made a different choice. What do you think? How do you really think 20, almost 25 years later, what are some of the big positives that's made a that leaving sugar and junk food has allowed you to access, right? Like what's on the other end of that?
yeah.
What do you feel really how you benefited from that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because when we're going to put a lot of effort into something, and you know this as well as I do, we want a big return on our investment, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time, and neither do you. And my return on investment was I want to like myself. And if I like myself, if I love myself, then I'm going to love, and I loved and liked my kids, but I wanted to really genuinely be there for them.
Yeah.
And if I'm so busy focused on my drug of choice, when I'm going to get the next hit of sugar. And I would eat so much sugar during the day that I had to go lie down. I couldn't function in the afternoon. It was
Yeah.
disgusting. I shouldn't be alive today.
Yeah.
My epitaph would read death by donuts and Dove bars. So I decided I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. So the payoff is I learned how I realized I can beat this monster. It was David and Goliath. I can beat them. So
Yeah.
my confidence, I got confident.
Yeah.
I got rid of the negative thinking. And this took a lot of work over a period of time.
Yeah.
I was no longer hostage
Yeah.
to sugar. And that's a big takeaway, I think, for your listeners is what are you hostage to?
Yeah.
Because if you're hostage to something, you're not going to be able to live a joyful life. And life is hard enough anyway
Yeah.
without being hostage to something
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And so the payoff was I started to feel really good every day. And when people say, oh my gosh, I can't imagine getting off the sugar, they're right. It's that huge a pull in us.
Yeah.
If they just start by saying, hey, I want what Laura has, or I want what that person has, how can I do it?
Yeah.
And then surround yourself with a team, you really can.
Yeah.
So the payoff is huge in terms of feeling better, sleeping better. I'm a happier person. Everybody wants to be happier.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
happy person, and I deal with hardships so much better. I
Yeah.
don't eat anymore. I
Right.
don't overeat and over binge when it's raining outside. or
Yeah.
reining in here. I don't eat anymore. I go to the gym,
Yeah.
or I practice gratitude, or I walk the dog, or I call a friend, or I coach a client who's hurting.
Yeah.
Direct it. You get away from the cookies, you get away from the bourbon, you get away from the pot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's tremendous. You're so right. It's amazing it takes a little bit, but it's amazing how the mind shifts. For me, you helping me dial in my nutrition, and it's a practice, right? It's a daily thing. It's not like you arrive and then all of a sudden you're good. It's a practice you work on improving every day, but it's amazing when you get away from the processed food. It's like all of a sudden long-term thinking comes in, right? Because before that, like you're saying, it's I got to get to the next hit. And you don't maybe you don't sense that, but you kind of locked into a short-term thinking mindset. It's a lot harder to then get pulled into other things. There's a lot of clarity that comes with that, and obviously, a lot of neurology shows how how beneficial and how healthy the brain can become when getting off of sugar. It really is a drug. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
for people listening, and you're so right, for people listening, don't ever give up.
Yep.
Just get rid of the, oh, I could never. And instead, just listen to this podcast and let Eddie and me plant a seed. And you just start thinking about, well, what would my life be like if I didn't have it?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's amazing. Um, so you remove something like that, you got to bring something great in, right? I mean, what are the staple foods in your diet that you feel keep you sharp?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When you remove something, you've got to put something better in its place. And it does take a little while. Now, look, we live in a time when there are diet wars going on. It's very complicated out there. I don't know what I should eat, and yet we've got tons of information. You've got the vegans,
Yeah.
and then you got the meat and potato eaters, and then you have the vegetarians, and then you got a million the blood type diet and the Mediterranean diet. It can be very, very confusing.
Yeah.
So what do I eat? Once I got off the sugar, and what can your listeners do is sit down again and have a talk to your body. Listen to your body and say, what does my body really, really need to thrive?
Yeah.
And you might try a couple of different diets, because the meat eaters are going to say that the vegetarians are weak and have no muscle and they're anemic. And then the vegetarians are going to say, yeah, but you're dying because you're eating all the meat and it's bad for the planet. And we're just, we're at war with each other.
Yeah.
Remove yourself from all of that and sit down and talk to your cells and listen to your body and say, what is it that you need me to put inside you so that you can function at an optimum level? And play with it for a couple of months and be honest with yourself. Be
Yeah.
honest with what you're eating. For me, ever since I was a baby, literally off the pablum, meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
And I've tried a million times to be vegan and vegetarian because I think it'd be so cool.
Yeah.
I think my coolness factor would skyrocket. I said, oh, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
And the food is delicious.
Yeah.
And I've tried a number of times and I have become deeply, I'm not kidding, very sick.
Yeah.
And I've worked with some professionals. It didn't work for me.
Yeah.
So don't try and put a square peg in a round hole. If
Yeah.
you're a meat eater, I eat clean meat. I don't buy the garbage in the supermarket. I buy from local farmers. Yes, it's more expensive, but I don't go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
So, and I eat 50% organic vegetables because I can't afford just to eat all organic. So I choose the right ones to eat.
Yeah.
So I have replaced the sugar and the junk food with the most delicious food.
Yeah.
And I could never have imagined this when I was on sugar. But now, if I had a bag of Oreo cookies and I had an organic apple,
Yeah.
you're trying to kind of enjoy the organic apple while you're ingesting the bag of Oreo cookies. This is going to win every time because it tastes a whole lot better.
Oh yeah.
Explodes your taste buds in your brain. It says, I want more, I want more.
Yeah.
The organic apple can't compete.
Yeah.
But once you remove the crap food
Yeah.
and your taste buds start to acclimate towards the delicious nutrient dense foods,
Yeah.
and you're not feeding yourself with all the sugar and all the chemicals, the organic apple becomes I know you'll agree, the most delicious thing you could ever possibly eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's this day, and I've been eating organic. Now they're a little more expensive, so I choose carefully, and you can buy them on sale. But the sugar is expensive too. I'm blown away when I see people in the supermarket putting all the sugary processed foods on the conveyor belt, how expensive it is.
Yeah.
So I take away the sugar and the processed foods and I give my brain and my taste buds a couple of months to acclimate. And I say, I like meat and potatoes and I really relish cooking homemade food and I
Yeah.
eat like a king.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome. Yeah, no, you're so right. Another mentor I've had, he terms it intuitive eating, right? And I think you're right. I think everybody's different and genes play into that and some conditioning plays into that. And it's a little bit different for everybody. A one size fits all diet doesn't really tend to work for everybody. And there is an intuition there. And like you said, I think you tap into that intuition better once you've removed the artificially fabricated, designed, engineered food-like substances like sugar and the junk food. Rob Wolf has a great, another CrossFit guy. Rob Wolf has a great book, Wired to Eat, and he talks about how a lot of these processed foods I mean, they're engineered to just light our brains up, and it's something where you're right. An organic apple is not going to hold a candle to an Oreo. The Oreo's been designed to hack our neurology, but yes, I'm also hearing you're investing in your health, right? You're right. And look, we've been there too. We made that sacrifice to move over to organic. And when you're feeding a family organic, and there's a few different reasons why we've done it. But it is expensive. You get the sticker shock, but I've also heard, you pay for it now, you pay for your health now, you pay for it later,
Yeah.
right? So it is an investment up front, but the benefits, it's a gift that keeps on giving, and you're obviously a living testament to that. So yeah, it's just powerful.
It is Eddie, you just said it so beautifully, and I love the intuitive eating.
Yeah,
It is the gift that keeps on giving.
yeah,
And you said a very powerful statement. You said, we as a family made the decision.
yeah,
All success starts with, I make a decision
yeah,
today. And every day we have to wake up every day and say, today I make the decision.
yeah,
But you eat all organic in your family. Wow,
yeah.
that's impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I had a friend of mine who's very into health and nutrition, and
Mhm.
he said something wild to me, and this was his choice, and I kind of want to share it with all of you. He said,
Yeah,
no, he eats all organic, and they buy very expensive fish is very expensive, and they go to a really good fish monger,
yeah,
and it's like fish can be $30 a pound, $20 a pound. And I
yeah,
said, how do you do it? And he said, we cut back on our vacations.
yeah, yeah,
Wow, talk about priorities.
yeah, yeah. I feel that. No, that's very commendable, and that's it. It's like you figure out where you cut back, and I tell you, within 2 weeks, you feel a big difference, and you see it in your kids, and you see it in your parents, and at that point, you see where the investment payoff is so much higher that you figure it out. And to all our listeners, sometimes the finances aren't there for it, but working towards it, finding good choices. There's always better choices to make, and it's a scale, right? We scale it, and it's a practice. Trying to find the best source foods because sometimes it's not the easiest thing to do, unfortunately, and hopefully there'll be better access at a cheaper level to better foods because food is just so important. But yeah, no, that's amazing. Food, going back to exercise,
Can
you
I
know,
touch on one thing with you
yes,
with
go
food?
ahead. Yeah.
Because you hit on something really important. We start out slowly, you know,
Yes.
you could go in. I mean, I love the idea of going in and cleaning all the food out in the kitchen. I
Yeah.
love that idea. I'm kind of an extremist that way. But start out slowly.
Yeah.
What's healthy? Rice and beans. If
Yeah.
your stomach and your gut can tolerate it, rice and beans, the bag beans, not the canned beans,
Yeah.
are super healthy. Bananas, plantations.
Yeah.
Uh, are pennies, and it's not a you can't you got to get some protein in there as well. But when you start with that and stop doing the donuts and the little Debbies and the Entenmann's and
That's
stuff, and
right.
beans instead of bananas,
Yeah.
and then throw in an apple every once in a while. And if you can't afford the organic, start with the regular apple.
That's it.
Go slowly, but
You're right.
there are ways that you can hack through this.
Yeah.
But you got to be honest and get rid of the sugary stuff.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. You reminded me. one of the guiding tenets and all that, because you're right, it isn't just night, a day to night. It's not overnight. It is a progression, and we did that progression little by little. And one of the guiding tenets of all, and I know you've heard it, many times, is try to shop around the perimeter of the grocery store, stay out of the aisles. And that's always been a guiding tenet. So, yep, absolutely. Great. Um, all right. Main exercises. What are the kind of primary exercises that you feel keep you fit and strong?
We hear this a lot now. Fortunately, there's a lot of chatter about this out there and in the news and on social media. Strength training, strength training, strength training, strength training, pickups to heavy stuff,
Yep.
but do it properly. I strength train 3 times a week, meaning I lift. I don't lift barbells anymore because I've got some low back issues, but I lift dumbbells and I do functional fitness moves, meaning push-ups, pull-ups, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Strength training to increase our muscle mass, especially as we get older.
Yep.
You feel so amazing walking around all day long with a fit core.
Yep.
You feel so confident. And then I do cardio. I swim 3 times a week. And if 6 days a week is too much for me, I cut it back to 5.
Yep.
But I really emphasize strength training, that if you're new to it, and even if you're not new to it, get a competent coach to say, I want you to show me the proper technique, because it's not about how heavy I'm lifting. It's the quality of the lift.
Yep.
Slow and steady. When you lift correctly, you don't have to be crushing it. And I see so many people at the gym running and overly dramatic and look at how heavy I'm lifting this barbell or this dumbbell,
Yep.
and they're doing it all wrong. And I say, you're going to be, you're going to screw up your back or have a shoulder injuries for the rest of your life if you keep doing that. I don't say it to them directly,
Yeah.
but get correct technique and start to reshape your body as
Yeah.
you're reshaping your pantry. You walk around feeling so much better about yourself. And
Yeah.
then the cardio is important for the heart.
Yep.
And if that's too industrious for you now, I always say start out with yoga
Yeah.
and chair yoga. If it's done correctly, do the moves correctly
Yeah.
to get your body more flexible and more mobile.
Yeah.
You're in community, and yoga is just king of all moves anyway, I think, but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
by itself. I do believe in the cardio and the strength training, but start with yoga if you can't do the strength training.
Yeah.
And you can start strength training with a 3-pound dumbbell.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, you're one of the most energetic people I know. How do you keep your energy up every day?
Sometimes I nap. And napping is a good thing. I believe in napping. We're not in a society who naps. We're a hustle culture. But I need to nap. And I really, really appreciate and love my body. And I want to take good care of it. And I have sleep issues now. After you hit menopause, the sleep can become a shit show. And so I struggle with that, but I have all the right habits in place. So I make sure that I get a lot of sleep, because if I don't have a lot of sleep, I don't have any energy and I'm in a bad mood.
Yeah.
So I just take naps and I sleep, and then just my big 5. I
Yeah.
practice transcendental meditation. I've been doing that for, Eddie, that'll be 8 years this month. 8 years
Nice.
in transcendental meditation, and that gives me a lot of rest in my brain and my cells as well. So
Yeah.
we got to
Yeah.
recharge, get off the phones and go smell the woods and smell trees and walk and be quiet and
Yeah.
turn away from devices and get sleep. I hear people say, "Oh, I'm really fine on 4 hours of sleep at night." Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
No.
really fine on 5 hours sleep. Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't buy it, but
No, you're right. You're right. Sleep is such a huge input. And yeah, I mean, if I feel it, when you have bad sleep or you don't sleep enough, you feel it. What do they say? It's like the equivalent of being, a certain level of inebriated, right? Or intoxicated, like you're on alcohol. That's how it feels like. So, no, I feel it absolutely. Sleep is so important. And then you talked about, TM. Stress management is so important, especially in, the lifestyles that we live now, and we've got all these screens that are demanding our attention and, fast-paced life. So, you've talked a little bit about TM and how that's really helped you. 8 years now, what do you feel? A lot of people I think have a lot of preconceptions about meditation. I did. I thought to myself, I can't just shut my mind off. And then you find out it's not really shutting your mind off.
Mhm.
And so let's hear it from you. You've been doing it for 8 years. What do you feel how have you benefited the most from meditation?
No, I agree with you. People, how do you shut your mind off? Well, you don't. We make assumptions about things we don't know anything about.
Yeah.
And I'm a very bouncy, 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 high energy, maybe ADHD. I can't sit still person. So how could I ever imagine sitting in a chair for 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night? Um, but if there was, I'm not a reductionist, but if there was one thing that I could only bring to a desert island, what would it be? It wouldn't be the exercise and it wouldn't be getting off sugar. It would be TM,
Yeah.
transcendental meditation, because from the TM, I then welcome the no sugar. My neurons are so much quieter now
Yeah.
that I don't have the cravings. I don't have cravings anyway because I've been off it for so long. But you go to the David Lynch Foundation, David Lynch foundation.com, TM for a lot of people who are drug addicts
Yeah.
and alcoholics. The TM practice takes away their cravings. There's a lot of a lot of proven scientific studies on it.
Yeah.
But what I would say is don't assume anything, just explore. And there's a lot of mindful meditations out there.
Yeah.
And then there's TM, and I won't go into it here, but do the research. I believe if your viewers are interested, look into TM and look into mindfulness meditation with Dan Harris,
Yeah.
10% happier.
Yeah.
He's the real deal when it comes to the mindfulness,
Yeah.
which there is going to be an intentional focus.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine doing some kind of intentionally focusing on something. And then there's transcendental meditation. And yes, there's a mantra, but you're not really focusing on it. So don't get hung up on that.
Yeah.
TM, it has been around for 5,000 years, but Maharishi Mahesh Yogi brought it to this country in the 70s.
Yeah.
There is no spiritual component to it at all,
Yeah.
nothing religious. There's some people that think it's part of the Scientology. That's totally wrong. It's not. It's a mental technique. It's
Yeah.
secular and it
Yeah.
can be taught to a 10-year-old. And if I can do it,
Yeah.
anybody can do it who's bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. So that's all I'm going to say. But the benefits are so enormous in terms of managing anxiety, getting angry, getting freaked out,
Yeah.
getting worried. It's like kind of having a safety net. Everything is just a lot softer. Things are just not that intense up here.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
best way I can describe it. And it is my highest priority of my day.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I mean, I remember when you started telling me about TM years back, and I had that first knee-jerk reaction of, wow, that sounds amazing. I don't think I could ever do that. And then little by little, okay, I've got Laura telling me about it. Oh, it starts popping up over here, it starts popping up over there. It's now somebody else is telling me about it. And all right, well, you kind of meet it where you can.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can set my timer on my phone for a minute and just shut my eyes and shut everything else out and shut up. And
Fair
then,
enough that you say that, but that's very different from TM.
okay.
I just have to interject that it is
Yeah.
we all will go there and say, I can't. I mean, I wasted 40 years of my life
Yeah.
not doing TM
Yeah.
because I said I can't sit still. I
Yeah.
actually took it when I was 20 years old. I was out of college. Everybody was doing it then, but I gave it up. And I think it was just I didn't have whatever. And then I got back to it in my 60s.
Yeah.
I feel like I wasted 40 years of my life. So please don't be tempted to say, I can't sit still for 15 seconds.
Right.
It, it's so not that.
Right. Right.
So that's the best I can do. Just don't make assumptions. And there are TM
Yes.
teachers all over the country. You can go tm.org and find a teacher in your neck of the woods,
Yeah.
and you get a free consultation with them and all that.
Yeah.
But
Great.
anyway, it's
Great.
been a game changer for me.
Yeah, and we'll point our viewers right to that. We'll link it in the
Okay.
description too. That way they can check it out for themselves and just meditate. There's so many different types of meditation, and TM is powerful. And there's definitely a power in for me, I'd love to eventually get into TM, but there's been a power for us and my family in cultivating that practice of just kind of, closing your eyes and almost shutting off all the other stimuli. And I know that's some meditation wise, but just in terms of stress management, um,
Well,
it it's
if
yeah,
there's, I can just interrupt. There's
yeah,
one other thing. If TM is too much for you right now, your viewers, I would recommend looking at YouTube and learning how to box breathe.
box breathe,
5
yes,
5 minutes of box breathing is phenomenal. 10 minutes of box breathing, phenomenal.
yeah,
I do a minute of box breathing and it brings me way down. Breath
yeah,
work is big these days, and there's a ton of
yes,
different types of breathing techniques. Keep it simple.
yeah,
Just Google box breathing
yes,
or a pranayama breath work.
yeah,
And that is in and of itself just a mini form of giving yourself a little time out. And
yeah,
it's not this frustrating. How can I sit by myself for 15 seconds with my thoughts?
yeah,
So box breathing and then also going outside and being in nature and just kind of just walking around the neighborhood, just
yeah,
getting away from life. That's also a very huge. People say, well, I paint and I
yeah,
walk and that's meditating. It really isn't by my definition, but it is quiet time, it is downtime. And so I add
yes,
that as a
yes,
stress, but real stress management, box breathing, and then meditation.
powerful,
And
powerful.
in addition to the exercise and the sleep and the
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. You got to fill your cup back before you
Yeah.
go again. So that's awesome. Yep, yep, that's great. All right, well, you know, you're also one of the most disciplined people I know. How can we become better at forming habits that support us in the direction that we want to go?
Forming a positive habit is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. And there's a little bit of a strategy to it. Number one, you make the decision, like I've said many times, let's use going to the gym. I make the decision that I now want to start strength training,
Yep,
or I make the decision that I want to, get off sugar or whatever. You take baby steps and you say, this is my end game. This is why I want to do it. I want to get stronger. I want to be like Laura. I want to be like Eddie or somebody that you know, and use them as a role model. That's a very important motivator. So take baby steps and say, I'm creating a positive habit in my life, and I'm going to do one little baby step every single day.
yep,
And then you go to the gym and you look around at the personal trainers and you decide you're going to hire a trainer. And it could be for one session or it could be for 3 sessions,
yep,
if you're on a budget. And you say, I want to learn how to lift the dumbbell, 3 different dumbbell lifts. Don't, ask for 20, 3 different dumbbells. So take baby steps and give yourself a pat on the back every day that you've taken one more action step towards creating a positive habit. Now
yeah,
they say, and I don't know who they are, it takes 21 days to create a habit. I don't buy into that because habits are come in all shapes and sizes.
yeah.
It would take me exactly 3 minutes to develop the habit of eating sugar again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So don't hang up to I got to do this for 21 days.
Yeah.
But every day that you work on your brand new positive habit, be sure you really go me, give yourself a big pat on the back and keep a journal of it. Share with a friend, you know what I did today? I made an appointment with a personal trainer.
Yeah.
That's one step more. And then just don't quit at it. Keep your eye on the prize. Why am I doing this? For your kids,
Yeah.
or you want to start loving yourself, liking yourself. You got this body, take good care of it. If you don't take care of your body, where are you going to live?
Right. Right.
So,
Exactly.
so
Yep.
what, one of my positive habits is one of my core values, I made this a long time ago, this decision, I didn't want to gossip anymore.
Mm.
Now that was, I'm not a big gossiper, but even Eddie, one little gossip about somebody is so hurtful.
Yeah.
And so I started on a daily basis. At the end of the night, I'd say, at the beginning of the day, I'd say, I'm not going to gossip about somebody.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I said, did I gossip about somebody? Yes, I did.
Mm.
Or no, I didn't. And you start to track your progress, but hold yourself accountable when you're doing that. And over time, if you don't quit, you're just going to be a rock star with that positive habit. And then you can start another positive.
That's it. Yeah. No, you're right. It gets addictive, just like all the bad habits become addictive. It does get addictive to stack those wins, as long as like what you're saying, you acknowledge them, you celebrate them, and You
Yeah.
just take the next step and the next step, and they start to stack. So powerful. Um, so you've always, since I've known you, you've had this drive. You've always been helping people improve, grow. You've helped me. Where does that drive to help empower others come from?
Mm, great question. It comes from having no drive and hating myself and hating life for so many decades. Really, one of my big whys is I want to reclaim my childhood. I want to reclaim my life and make up and leverage for the lost time.
Yeah,
I'm not blaming anybody. It was just me and my life. And, I just wasn't happy with myself. And I was doing a lot of stupid ass shit, pardon my French. And I had no purpose. I had no career drive. I wanted Prince Charming to come in and save me. I mean, it was just bad. And when I started to watch the Navy SEALs and I said, oh, there's a different life out there, I leveraged that pain. And so now I have the privilege of working with women who say, I want to clean up my life because I don't like how I was yesterday or last year. And I say, I can help.
yeah,
And there's nothing more rewarding for me than being around people like you, like the ladies I coach who say, I want to grow personally. I don't want to play the blame game anymore. I don't want to live life in the gutter. The view from the gutter is terrible. I want to start climbing. So I'm leveraging, my icky past, and it keeps me going on the rainy days because I say, you know what, I can help somebody. And at the end of the day, I feel amazing. I feel so grateful
yeah,
to coach amazing ladies.
yeah, yeah.
We
That's
can learn
tremendous.
our pains no matter what we've been through. Everybody suffers and everybody's got a story. We can leverage that and turn it into something positive.
Yes, yes. Yeah, no, that's excellent. I mean, you end up what you end up doing is you end up making a positive impact on people you don't even intend to do having a positive impact. You just show up and in showing up and you start to shape your environment in a positive way. And who doesn't want to do that? You've obviously, had that positive effect on me. And I'm not one of the ladies that is on your roster, right? So, how you show up has so much to do with that willingness and drive to improve and help others improve. So, that's I got to commend you for that.
Thank you.
It really is something special. Um, what's the first step every listener should do to elevate their mindset after listening to this interview?
Make the decision that you want to be better for yourself and find a why. Why do you want to be better? Why do you want to get out of bed in the morning? What's the point? Ask yourself, what's the point? Do I have a mission here? I could stay in bed and eat all day long, drink all day long, and watch Netflix. So ask yourself, what do I want? What's my mission?
Yeah.
And if you're ready, you'll find a way. I'm available to coach. There are plenty of coaches out there. Get a good therapist if you're really struggling with some PTSD or wounds in your life. Therapy is for everybody. Don't be a lone ranger. Life is really hard. There's a lot of suffering going on. The world's a very broken place. If you're religious or spiritual, get on your knees and say, ask to the, reach out to the God of your understanding and saying, I want help, and then be open and to listening. Just put your hands out and say, what can I do today to improve myself? And then you can go out and have fun and serve others in a special way that's your purpose driven way.
Yeah.
Because I think we're here on planet to do two things:
Yeah.
serve others and have fun doing so.
Yeah. I
No
love
more.
that.
We must have fun. We must be good to ourselves and have fun with our family and friends, but also
Yes.
reach out and serve others. But we can't, as you said, fill somebody else's cup until we fill up our own cup. So
Yeah.
for help, good people are out there to help you
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah. I love that. Serve others and have fun doing it.
and have fun doing it right.
Yep.
That's my mission statement. So get a mission statement for yourself. What's your, you know,
Yes.
tagline for yourself?
Yes. Yep. You can help doing that. Where can people find you and your resources?
So my name, Laura Eiman, EIMAN, lauraeiman.com is my website for any of you who want to go and learn more about me. And also I'm on social media. Instagram is at Laura Eiman. You can find me there. And I'm on TikTok at confidence coach for women.
Yeah.
And I'm on Facebook as well. So
Yep.
just Google Laura Eiman, Eiman, and I will come up. And I offer a complimentary 30-minute Let's Meet phone call for people who want to learn more about my services, and I can provide clarity to them on what their issues are and whether I'm the right coach for them. I may be, I may not be,
Yeah.
but it's never a waste of time to give me a call and to go on the website and book a session to say, hey, this is what's keeping me up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to settle anymore. I want to improve and grow and be of service. So I'm happy to connect with anybody who's interested in that.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to link all that in the description below so everybody can take advantage of the resources. Laura's videos are amazing. Definitely check those out. And yeah, I know you're busy. I'm so grateful that you took this time with us. I know a lot of people are going to find a lot of value in this. There's a lot of great information here that applies to all of us. And, especially for those who want to improve their health, want to improve their level of nutrition, their fitness, maybe they're dealing with a chronic disease, or a loved one caregiving for one with a chronic disease. All of this applies because you're right, it's not just one thing. It's, your core five, it's mindset, it's nutrition, it's fitness, it's exercise, it's stress management, it's sleep. And what ties all that together is having that purpose, that why, because it's not easy. You don't roll out of bed and put all those things together. There's a mindset that needs to be cultivated there, and the payoffs are huge. So, thank you, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for everything that you've done, for me, and everything you're doing for your clients, and everything you're going to continue to do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to connect with you down the road soon.
And
Thanks, Laura.
thank you for all the good you are doing for
Yeah,
your viewers on this channel and out there in the world and for your family. The world is a better place for having Eddie Rodriguez in it.
yeah. Thank you so much. Likewise.